Joining us now are two members of the esteemed House, Democrat Peter Welch of Vermont and Republican Chris Gibson of New York. Welcome to you both, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Both of you have found a way to bypass this partisan acrimony and work together on Syria. If I might begin with you, Mr. Gibson, how did this happen and what are you proposing?
Well, first of all, Peter and I actually have been working together for as long as I've been in the House. Shortly after the storm, Hurricanes Irene and Lee, both of our districts were devastated by those storms. We took up the mantle of leadership as co-chairs in the House of the Recovery Task Force and ensured we got the appropriations. We learned we had a lot in common, actually. I've enjoyed my friendship with Peter. We were both point guards at a much younger day, I guess.
Would you like us, sir, would you like us to record what you just said and send it to Speaker Boehner as an example of how he might lead his caucus?
Well, look, I would hope that we're examples for all, because even beyond that storm, we've worked together for veterans, we've worked together for farming, we're co-leaders in the No Labels group, and today, as you point out, we're here today to talk about something we think is very serious and very important, and that is to say no to war with Syria. If another country was going to arm a rebel group with the express purpose of attacking our country, we would view that as an act of war. And our founders made it very clear that on issues of war and peace, that the people's representatives were to be on record to vote as to whether or not we were going to proceed in such a manner. And so with Peter and I, we're here today to say that we're circulating a letter. It's a bipartisan, bicameral letter that's asking the administration that before they take any action to arm rebels, that they would first come to this body for expressed authorization.
Congressman Welch, that is a strong, solid and sensible thing to do in relation to Syria. Why on earth is it possible for you to work with Republicans on foreign policy issues and yet cannot do a thing about immigration, about the budget, about the debt ceiling, about guns? I could go on and on and on. Why a failure on domestic issues, and yet you two get together and resolve an issue in relation to a foreign country?
Well, I think what we both understand is that, it's true America voted for divided government, but they didn't vote for dysfunctional government. And there's a lot of rank and file dissatisfaction and frustration that we're not getting anything done. And we can point the finger back and forth, but what a number of us are trying to do is find out, all right, we agree on Syria. All right, we agree on emergency aid in Irene. We agree on energy efficiency. There's a number of folks, both sides of the aisle, working on that. And define the bill around the area where we agree in its substantive and push that, and actually make a pledge not to put on the partisan amendments that appease our base but get nowhere for us. But there's a lot of rank and file frustration about the stall speed that Congress is in.
I have to say, Congressman, that is the understatement of the decade. Frustration. The nation has your body at its lowest approval rating for a very long time. Congressman Gibson, what do you plan to tell your constituents, for example, about where we are in relation to food stamps, or where we are in relation to comprehensive immigration reform, or where we are in relation to gun safety? After all, 90% of the nation would like universal background checks. What are you going to say to your constituents, sir?
Well, I will tell you this. I'm on the Agricultural Committee. I do believe we're going to get a farm bill done by 30 September. The staff is actually working now between the Senate and the House to reconcile differences. I don't think we're that far apart. I do believe that we will get a comprehensive farm bill. It will include a nutrition title in the end, and it'll be something that will enjoy, I think, pretty wide bipartisan support. We have until 30 September to get that done. Let me also say that I think we're going to pass this week important legislation to ensure that our students don't have their student loan rates double. And I believe the President will sign it. So, look, as you point out, there's so much more that we need to be doing. But in fact, we are trying to find ways, Peter and I and others, to be functional, to do our responsibilities here in the Congress.
Congressman Welch, considering the lack of action on passable bills, this feels more like 6 weeks of vacation. And, I would agree with you that Vermont is a wonderful place to have a holiday. What's your analysis?
Well, it is. We have a low regard by the American people, and we've earned it. That's the truth. What I'm saying to you is that those of us who are in Congress, the one thing we have is an opportunity to try to make the institution function. And it's really quite amazing to me, because this changed from when I got here. I thought I'd be focused on getting it right on an issue. But in fact, we just got to make some incremental steps and make this institution work. And there's this ideological divide in this willingness on the part, I'd say, at the leadership level, to really batten down the hatches and fight on issues where we're not going to agree, like Obamacare. There's a real divide there. That's fair and square. But when it comes to passing a transportation bill, making progress on student loans, areas where we actually acknowledge some common agreement, why can't we make progress there? And I think what you're seeing is that it's not just Chris and me, but there's a lot of members who would feel a lot better at the end of the day if we actually had something to show for our efforts, rather than just the back and forth bickering.
And you know, and we're not going to tire. Look, we may be disappointed, but we're not discouraged. We're going to continue to find ways to work together. And, you know, from my time in Iraq, leading troopers in Iraq, I can tell you that we were always trying to find a way to bring the Iraqis together. In northern Iraq, where I served, we had Sunni, Shia, Kurds, Turkmen, Yazidis, Zoroasters, Christian Jews, all in one province.
Yes,
we
indeed.
had that responsibility. We had to bring them together. And so, look, in America, we have so much more in common than we ever have apart. And we've got to keep working for the people.
Congressman Chris Gibson, sometimes it feels as though this place is worse than Iraq, but Congressman Chris Gibson and Peter Welch, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.